Right. I'm just making a fucking video. Um, Follow on from the last one. I just want to clear a couple of things up very quickly. Now, I do talk from a male perspective. So sometimes when I'm talking, it can come across a little bit one-sided. Now, males cheat. Males are slimy, cheating little fucking cunts. No different from women. But the reality of my world, meaning my generation, so that's all I can fucking judge on and look at and analyse, is that nearly, well, vast amounts of the females were the cause for relationship breakups. And the problem is that they're the ones with the children who get the children. Not everyone is in my case. All I know is that, well, the problem is that the women put in people they don't know around their kids. It's their boyfriends, and they think they can just, the kids are just like a byproduct of their life. They're just like these little dollies that you dress up, and I don't give a fuck what anyone has got to say on that, because that's a fact that takes place. Certainly in my world, I've got to remember that I'm from a poor background, so you know, I'm not 100%. I'm from a poorer background. Yeah, but I'm not sure it makes that much fucking difference. Through my life, every problem in my life came from my mum and the men she brought into my home. My son also has had nothing but problems in his life caused by the men that his mum brought into the home. My sister ran off with the best man from her wedding, gave one of her kids away because she didn't want to look after him anymore, because she wanted to run off gallivanting around, and just moves her daughter around schools regarding and moving in with blokes that she doesn't know very well. There's loads and loads. When I was a youngster, there was this fat fucking bitch from fucking Houghton Regis who used to drag her fucking daughter around, living in squats, a young baby, taking her to raves and all this shit. You know what I mean? Scumbag woman who didn't give a fuck, only cared about getting mashed and partying. And this is what I keep saying, is the party lifestyle which was done. Most of my males, a lot of people I knew grew up with no dad around. But is that always the male's fault? Now, I just want to get this out, because again, I just want to square it up. I've made videos, and a bloke I met up with in Stevenage, a mate of mine a bloke I knew from work. A mate is a big thing. He's someone I enjoyed arguing with. Basically, I've enjoyed arguing with him over the years. I met him and he tried to I told him things. I was trying to show him some videos. He stopped me and refused to look at the shit I was trying to show him. Then starts making stuff up and then tried to say, oh yeah, well you because we were talking, and I asked him whether he had a kid, because I'd never known he had a kid. I knew that he spent his entire life dressing up as David Bowie, pretending to be David Bowie. If he weren't pretending to be David Bowie, he was pretending to be Jean-Claude Van Damme. Tyler, a bloke, he's a Tyler, who's a Tyler. I met him at a tile company from Stevenage, in a company called AG Ceramics. And I never knew he had a kid. I knew all about his other bullshit in his life, but I never knew he had a kid. And for some reason, I asked him that night. We've gone out for a drink in Stevenage, and I asked him, "Did you have a fucking? Do you have any kids?" Because I didn't know. He'd never ever He spoke of his love of David Bowie, not of his kid or anything like that, though. So, but I asked him, and it turned out that he did have a kid who was my age. He's a lot older than me. He's 67. So, and we were out, and he went, I don't see him, no, and that's down to him. And we were out, and we ended up in the Red Lion, I think it is, in Stevenage, which is a pretty decent pub, actually. We were out the back. I think that's the name of the pub. I can't remember because I was lashed when I fucking got there. It was a week after I'd been to the festival, and I was trying to get out of going out because I was fucking hanging. I was shattered. I'd been on the piss all week, drinking every day in the sun, and I'd been out the week before, and I didn't want to go. I did try and cancel the fucking night out, but he said, no, we've arranged it now. My missus is going out. I need you to fucking. So I went out, and we were in the pub, and we've got speaking to these fucking other lads, and this young lad is talking about not having a dad, and it's really affected him in his life. And I turned round and I looked at him like this, as if to say, well, there you go, mate. This is what happens to fucking, like, this can happen to abandoned children who their fathers have left behind. Because this bloke was quite cut up about it. And I said, well, I didn't see my fucking dad either, mate. You know what I mean? And fucking, in the end, I told the geezer to shut up, stop fucking talking about it, because he was starting to do my head in. And I just said, well, look, mate, you know, ultimately, were you beaten as a kid? No. What did that happen as a kid? No. Did that happen as a kid? And he went, no. I went, well, ultimately, what's been that bad then? You just didn't see your fucking dad. You don't know your dad. Stop fucking going on about it now, because it was, you know, we're going in like fucking half hour's worth of fucking conversation about it, and it started to annoy me. Now, first and foremost, I never asked my mum who my dad was. It wasn't something that really bothered me that much as a kid. It was more other kids that seemed to be more bothered about who my dad was more than I was. All the kids would always ask you, who's your dad? Who's your dad? Don't you know who your dad is? And I was like, no. And I never asked my mum who my dad was, because it didn't really bother me that much. When I was about 18, 19, I used to act out murdering him, but because for some reason, at that age, I hated everyone in the world, and I would act out murdering everyone because I was a complete fucking wacko that was bordering on broken human being, which I've already been over. So he would pop in, and in my head, if ever I fucking met him, I'd knock the fuck out of him. So that was when I was 18, 19, and then I just forgot about it then, because after that I'd had a kid. It weren't really on my mind, but it weren't that on my mind that much. It was just one, it would pop into my head when I was going into one for a couple of days. He was just another name on the death list that used to pop into my head every now and then. So yeah, I weren't really bothered about it. And the only reason I found out about it was because who he was because my son's mum had asked my mum who my dad was. And my mum told her, and she knew who he was, and then went round telling everyone who he was. And then I found out who he was, and it was, it was just like, well, fucking hell. And I met him, and that was that. I'll go in, it's not that big of a deal. It weren't that big of a deal to me. It weren't that big of a deal. It's never been that big of a deal. But it does affect a lot of children in this world and is a problem in society. But yeah, I met the bloke a couple of days later, and this bloke is now, because I've tried showing him some stuff. I weren't speaking about. He started trying to, this is a bloke who spent his life pretending to be David Bowie and Jean-Claude Van Damme in the mirror, and now he's trying to do a psychoanalysis of me because I've tried to tell him about the world, and he's went, "Oh yeah, I see it in your face the other day that you were really upset about not seeing your dad as a kid." I went, "No, you never. I looked at you as if to say, this is what happens when you don't fucking see your kid, you cunt. I know all about David Bowie, you fucking mental patient. I know you love David Bowie, but you've never mentioned that you had a kid before." And he's trying to psychoanalysis me and claim that I'm an angry. He was going, "Oh yeah, that's where you're angry." I said, "You've never even seen me angry." Because when I'm trying to tell him stuff, I talk with passion. He's, "Oh," and people freak out. Anyway, yeah, so I never met my dad. I didn't know who he was, and it didn't really bother me. I met him when I was 30 odd years of age. I'm not angry at him. He's nobody. He is a nobody in my life. And he taught me, by not being around, to be a better dad for my kid. But it did turn out, and this is what I was getting to, it did turn out that when I asked my mum, well, basically, I'd gone in the pub for a pint for a few beers, and Beeman had turned round to me and said, "I know your stepbrother." And I'm like, "What do you mean stepbrother?" He's gone, "Yeah, this geezer said he's your stepbrother." And I went, "Fuck this. Give me the fucking cunt's fucking number who's fucking telling you this." And I thought my stepdad had another affair, and he'd had a fucking kid from that thing, and this cunt's going around telling people I'm his brother. So I've rung the geezer up and I've gone, "What the fuck's this? I'm your brother." He's gone, "No, well, I never said that." I said, listen, mate, you've said fucking something, because I've just fucking come in the pub for a beer, and now I've got a magical fucking family fucking appearing out of nowhere with one of my mates telling me that you've told him that I'm your fucking stepbrother. He went, "Oh, no, did you go out with a girl called Kerry Ryan?" I went, "Yeah." He went, "Oh, well, she said that I'm your brother." And I went, "Well, if it come out of her mouth, it's probably a load of bollocks," and put the fucking phone down on him. Anyway, I asked my mum the next day, and it turned out that this bloke was my dad, and then it come out that he had asked to see me as a child, and my mum had refused. So my absent father weren't the absent father's fault. It was my mum's fault, who then brought in a few males into my house that attacked me as a child. My son's mum has brought a few males into the house that attacked him as a child because he's not their child. It's also a breeding ground for paedophilia. So you have desperate little slag bag mums. Well, not desperate slag bag. That's a bit, well, just desperate, lonely prisoner human beings that need male company, but don't put any rational thought process into analysing who they're getting with. They would just move someone into a house rapid, and I've seen this loads, and it's disgusting what goes on in the world where women just think that they can add and put new dads around their fucking kids. And they try to get them to call them new dads, and they get the kids to call other people dad when they're not their dad. My son's brothers have had a few dads. And that comes from her mum. Her mum's had a younger boy, and he'd seen about 3 or 4 fucking dads by the time he was 5 years of age, because it goes down, because that's how it works. And women were bred to seek possessions because it comes from women looking after children with a free house, because that's how society dictated it all to work. And they will move people in because they want extra than the free house, and they want money, they want gifts, they want holidays, they want all these things. And they weren't working at the time because it's the changing of the generations. Is it their fault? No. But whether it's anyone's fault or not, they are the problems of society. Now, at the minute I'm talking, I don't care about this world at all. Yeah, so yeah, it's not only there. Just quickly on this, loads and loads and loads and loads and loads. The Blob fucked her kids out of it, run off with some fucking crackhead to go and went to work with a load of fucking rave organisation. You know what I mean? Just fucked her kids out of it. The words out of all their mouths would, I love my children. Oh, my children are my life. When their actions don't match their words, because mental patient words don't match the actions. That's why you don't listen to any mental patient's words. Always watch the fucking actions. So, yeah, I'm making videos at the minute because I am learning a lot about, I'm programming myself and I learn a lot. And over the last 8 years, and one is my language skills. And the way I'm able to explain things is getting better and better and better. And maybe, well, I'm giving up hope on this world. But in another world, if it was done differently, that may be the case at a later date, that my words will be able to, because could you reprogram the human race? It needs to implode, but could you also reprogram? To reprogram the human race would have to be done the same route that it was done in the first place, meaning via the media. Now, what I have been shown in this simulation, the virtual reality, this training program of mine, is the network of control that is in place. And if you are not a household name, your words won't get into that media. They won't get into that the public domain, how they would need to, which would have to be the mainstream media outlets, would be Facebook, YouTube, and maybe into the mainstream, what you would call news. So that's what I was saying. There could be, this isn't I'm not seeing the whole plan of what's going to take place. This is a training program to get me down. Yeah, so just quickly on the female thing, I just want to clear that up quickly on that, which is that, yeah, women have the children. So if all the adults are turning out all fucked up, males and females, the women have them longer than the males do. So it's the women that are the cause of a lot of the problems. That's a fact that's not going to be argued, that's not up for discussion. Is it their fault? No, nothing's anyone's fault. Could you reprogram the world? I'd like to think that you could. I'd like to think there is ways to destroy the world, but in the most sensible, good way of doing it, and hope there's leftovers. That's what I'm sort of done. But again, it could just, like I said, it literally could be just so that I'm able to infiltrate. So a training program. So what mental patients and everything sit there and do. I just want to clear this up. This is, like I've pointed out over and over again, this is a fictional TV series for Netflix that I'm hoping to make, called The Exampla, the son of the creator. It's totally fiction, but based on a true story slightly, which is what I've explained in previous videos under that title. that because every video under that title would be analysed by the rulers of that YouTube, which ban my episodes of the exampla that I say is fiction, claiming it's real life under medical misinformation twice when the videos weren't about medical misinformation, and now they seem to have come up with others because age restrictions, and they were only using a couple, so they may have brought in new bans since I've been getting banned. Yeah, so I needed to learn about how big that control and the power they have over it, meaning that they literally pick and choose who to put into the recommendeds of everyone's mobile phones to get them to look at that and create sensations, what they call things going viral, but they do it with news. Your phone beeps, YouTube video on, you know, and it comes through the actual devices as well, telling you about videos on YouTube. So the mobile phone companies are advertising YouTube news reports to you via text, because it's all one network. There's one company on earth called Company Freemason. Different logos and all of that sort of stuff are just for the mentally ill. Yes, that person will have that company under their name and their face will be put to it, but they have to be part of that network and do as they are told. Otherwise, because you're only as good as your advertising or the contracts that they give you. So if the shops won't sell, if you were somehow managed to invent a product, which is very rare, forget all the bullshit that you fucking see on Dragons. You know, nearly every invention is literally a monarchy agenda to give more technology to the population, to dumb them down and make them weaker on every avenue. Yeah, so yeah, I'm not singling, I do talk from a male perspective because I've been trained to be a male, and in my generation I've seen it, and I've also know that nearly every fucking one of my mates had absent fathers, and then they wanted to, again, is that from the woman or the male? Mine turned out to be my mum who did that. I don't care about my dad. I don't like him. I met him as an adult and can only judge him as a man, not as a, because he's not my dad. He's a sperm donor. He was just what made me. I look like him. We look very similar, although he's a lot shorter than I am, and we have same mannerisms and things like that. So some certain things are carried up into your gene pool, but we're totally different people. I'm nothing like him. He's a bullshitting, slimy little cunt of a human being. That's not me being bitter. That's just the facts. He's nobody to me. He even run past me every single day most days while I was in a tent over in fucking Barton Springs. Didn't stop once to ask whether, because he did jogging over there, defacing, you know what I mean, a sceneries of beauty with his fucking ugly boat race that looks like mine. But anyway, yeah, he ran past me, he was jogging past me every day. He didn't stop to ask if I was okay. He didn't stop to fucking ask if I wanted a cup of tea, if I needed any food. Didn't do anything like that. So everyone knew, people knew where I was. If, you know, my family, they're not my family, but, you know, you can't claim that nobody knew where I was and you weren't there to, no, not even stop once and say, look, boy, you know what I mean, I know you don't fucking like me, but, you know, are you all right, mate? Because if you're hungry or you fucking need something, you know, you got drink or fucking, you know, I could have died for all he would have known. Do you know what I mean? According to the things, he's nobody to me. Yeah, so I only met him. I met him and I spoke to him for a very short period of time, about fucking 3 months, a couple of months, and then he started acting the cunt with my fucking boy. I made the mistake. I let my guard down, and it's my fault. I shouldn't have introduced my boy to him. That's why I was angry at him. It's because he started to mug off my fucking little kid. Because he's a fucking... Anyway, forget that. I don't care. What I'm saying is I'm not angry at him. I couldn't give a fuck about him. He's a nobody. He's a nobody in my life. And by him not being there, it made me a better dad to my kid. So I gained out of it. Positive. I took the positives out of the negative for my life. Again, I'm not angry at my mum. I don't have time to hate individuals. I haven't got time to sit there hating on anyone. I didn't really analyse my childhood at all until I was on the path to enlightenment, and where I learned about the training program. And part of learning about the training program is to learn what made you the person that I was at 36, I think, or 35. I can't fucking remember now. 35, I think, when I fucking started on that route to enlightenment. Now, so yeah, I'm not angry at my mum. I just don't care about her. She's nobody. She's a nobody person in my life. My stepdad, without my mum and my stepdad, they taught me more by being fucking horrible cunts, because I'm a very generous person. I would never ever not feed my kids the food that I was eating. I'm not a scumbag. So everything they did, I did the opposite. To try to be better than they are. I wouldn't put beatings on a kid. I wouldn't terrorise little kids and act big to little kids and hurt them, because I don't need to do that. That's for them. But what I did get out of it is I'm very good at taking shots, because I was whack, always. Constant backhanders, forehanders, lick shot with the fucking knuckles, whack, with real spite. On nearly a daily basis for every word that come out of my fucking mouth. Again, I've already been, battering your fucking legs. So I have a high pain threshold from him and the older kids, because I was the youngest on my estate, and I was tiny compared to everyone else. And the little kid, the youngest, always gets bullied by the other kids. They're the rules. I don't make those rules. That's a game, because society has taught kids to be horrible and bullies and stuff like that. So I don't hate him. They're nobodies, but I gained a lot out of them. So to get me to where I am today, without them, that would be impossible. So I know why all that had to happen. So I'm not an angry person at them in general. They're nobodies. They're just characters in a training program to get me to where I am now, which is someone I like. I'm a lot happier with myself now than I've ever been in my life. I'm the happiest I've ever been in my life, because I have more understanding about what it is that is my life, even though I still know nothing other than it's a training program. This world doesn't matter. I'm pretty certain that I'm not here to save this world, or or save anyone in this world. I'm here to learn skills. One, maybe just talking. So and my talking and my writing have got much better, because if you, like I said, if you were to program another world and you had got into the public domain, so you were in the public eye, so you were, people knew who you was, that method of programming, meaning my writing and my videos that I could make with my words, could probably, maybe, I like to think they would program, because I think that I'm talking better and better as well, and I like the way I talk. So it's working on me. And that's a fact. I watched that video. I've watched those other 2 videos back. Since then, what I've done is I rang the foreman up from the job I was at, and I'm starting back there in the new year. Part of me is sort of regretting that a little bit, but I'm going to go back, because I've fucking rang the geezer and he was nothing but pretty good to me. So I'm going to do it. I didn't leave because I'm worried about anybody. I'm going to offer that bloke my hand. Whether he takes it or not is up to him. If he wants to attack me, I'll defend myself with no uncertain terms. But I won't be walking off for a fight with someone, because you can, if you walk with someone to a fight and then you hurt them, you will be done for. That's a criminal charge. Now, you know, a broken nose is GBH, you know, and it's very easy to even just do that. So that, you know, that's a lot of hassle that you could cause yourself. And in this world, the goddess looks after me to make sure that nothing bad can happen. But in another world, I'm not sure that's the case, because I've been taught to be on edge, been taught to analyze everything and work and operate as if that ain't going to be the case. So this world I don't worry about. I'm free of worrying about this life. To a degree, even though I have to worry about everything on a daily basis, because I'm on edge. I'm always on edge because I never know what's going on. In a real world that's not a virtual reality, if your job was to take down the evil empire that's ruling the world, you need to be on edge at all times. So that's what I was saying. So, yeah, 8 years ago, I was a dad, a complete fucking wacko mental patient, governed by the media, governed by my need to work, governed by my love for a kid that was no longer really in the house anymore, governed by drugs. I was a drug addict, alcoholic, pornography addict. I didn't watch pornography sober, but I took a lot of drugs because I hated myself when I was on drugs, and I hated watching the porn. After taking drugs on a night, taking drugs and watching pornography, I would puke up in the morning. Now, I didn't watch, I don't care, I'm talking to nobody, and I'm being honest, I don't give a fuck. The porn websites operate on nearly exactly the same as like YouTube does, with recommendeds and all this. So when you're high on drugs and that porno stop, you're just pressing on the button, you know what I mean? Because you're just in a weird fucked up world of masturbation, or not even masturbation, because you can't even really get a fucking boner. You're just fucking wacko, stroking a fucking piece of fucking string for hours, days, fucking with sniffing drugs or taking drugs, watching weird fucked up shit. I didn't watch that much weird. It's weird enough. Gangbangs, arse fucking a lot. Well, in the end, you end up watching. I ended up watching arse fucking more than then. You know what I mean? I wouldn't bother watching. Now I can't watch that. I've taken drugs and I can't watch that anymore because I've had to decontaminate my mind with that. And I knew it was wrong at the time when I was watching it. That's what used to make me throw up. And I, to all my mates, I'd say, what the fuck's going on? Where do all these women come from who are doing all this shit? What the fuck is going wrong with these women that makes them do that? They're like, shut up, what the fuck is the matter with you? You fucking, who do you think you are? Because I was, and I know other people that are horrified of it as well, but it's just something that you end up, and I'll go into that in another video. But yeah, so you do see things like I said with certain things, and you're just like, whoa, easy, man. And you know, and sometime, and again, what happens is you have like some cuffed up coke fingers, and you press the wrong thing, and it whip you off into, because then porn sites are like linked to other places that is well out of bounds, which is illegal porn. That's legal porn, and then you click on some button on one of the without knowing you've done it, and it flings you off, and you have to. I always used to shut the whole. You had to shut the whole fucking phone down and reload the fucking, because you can't get out of the things you're pressing, because it's weird as fuck. And that was what I was saying. Those porn sites, the legal ones, do that, and they're like linked to other places that are disgusting, paedophilic. That, you know what I mean? And like I said, I didn't, but there could well be other people out there that when they get whipped off into these things will click those buttons, and it can draw them into being a fucking weird, fucked up deviant. So I have witnessed what's there to a certain degree without witnessing it, and can understand how all that works, because the porn sites are revolting, and there is like endless stream of, like, it's like hundreds and thousands, millions of videos, and it's just depraved. And what you've got now is, like what I was saying, is that women now have availability to that. Before it was like desperate drug addict prostitutes or alcohol pissheads and vulnerable women. Now what you have are children that have that availability of pornography, are watching that. Because my son was talking about Pornhub at fucking 8-9 years of age. So if he knows about it, all the girls know about it, and they're watching it, dreaming their ambition is to be a porn star, because they've been watching it, playing with themselves like a deranged wacko, because you're already a complete sexual deviant by the time you get to high school, which is what I'll go into at a later date. I just wanted to clear that up. Yeah, so I'm going back to work. My aim next year is to try to work the whole year. I'm semi-retired, but I need to be putting things into place to make sure that I'm very comfortable and can nearly retire, hopefully, because I don't know what the world is going to throw in my direction. So I have to live like everybody else, where you just need to get by every day, day by day, but I'm always planning, prepping for the future. I've got one eye on the past, one eye in the present, and one eye on the future. The past is to learn from. Every day, yesterday is the past to today, so that's why I always analyse everything. And I was angry at that bloke. I left the job, I had to fucking put myself to sleep, but it keeps cropping up where I'm sit there analysing it, and I'm thinking, well, hang about, you demand, because it's hypocrisy, because a lot of people, nearly every mental patient, and I am no different, because I'm still a mental patient, which is the point I'm trying to get to. You can't go from fucking being a mental patient to being that to save the fucking world in a fucking daytime, or save the world, or do whatever it is that I'm meant to do. Destroy the world, save the world. I'm doing something. I'm meant to do something more than what I was. A wacko, mental patient prisoner of the asylum. So, yeah, so what was I saying? Yeah, so I analysed it, you know. If I don't know, because I can't talk, because the bloke don't talk English. Or maybe he does, and he's like a lot of foreigners and just pretends that they can't because they're being, some are rude. He might have thought I spat at him. He might not even know that I was joking and didn't spit at him. Now, if someone would have done that, I would have just went whack. I'm not even sure. I don't even know why I did it. Again, because I'm not a fucking finished article. I'm still suffer with certain things. So, one, I'm a hypocrite. And I don't blame the bloke. You know, ultimately, I would fucking do that as well. You know what I mean? I might have done more. So I'll offer him my hand. If he take it, he don't. I'm not going to walk up the road of him. So if he wants to attack me, he can attack me. He's more than welcome to attack me. Anyone's more than welcome to attack me. And I'll defend myself against that. But I'll make sure that it's done as and when I know it can be done, so that it, you know, there'll be no arguments about the fact that I was attacked. Yeah, so I live trying to avoid all, because in another world, my aim would, you know, is stealth. Your aim would be stealth. One, maybe I can get into the mainstream media by, like I've already pointed out, the Lost Boy thing could be quite good. A missing child would boost you. A missing person thing would boost you massive into the fucking, if it was done at a young age. That's one way of doing it. Or be good at other things, get in there with some form of music, sports, something like that. So yeah, and then you did stuff late at a later date. Then because you're a public name, then what you're saying would hold more fucking value to the mental patients of the asylum who love the characters on the fucking flashy screens and think that everyone in the media is more important than members of the public. Because that's my majority of the problem, is that people think that people in the media are more important than members of the public, their own friends and family. So yeah, positive thinking is a thing. It just depends on how you look at it, and how you what you take out of things. There's a lot more to gain from negative things than there is from positive things. Positive, you know, happy times lead to addiction. Happy, good feelings and good things like that lead into addictions, because they're too enjoyable, and you want to do the enjoyable all the time, when you actually learn a lot more from the bad. The bad teaches a lot more than the good. So it just depends on how you look at it. So yeah, and my stepdad worked the bollocks off me and taught me how to be a grafter. So I'm double, and this is what I'm saying. Where I am now is I'm 43 years of age, but I'm getting stronger every year. Every year I'm stronger. I can do more every single year. I'm on the up. I'm not on the down. I worry about the down when I start to go downhill, but right now I'm on the up. So every year I'm physically stronger. My yoga it gets better every year, even though I do less yoga every year. But I'm getting better at it. It's getting better every year, and the body is maintaining its strength a lot more now, which takes a long time just to get to that level. And yeah, it's less and less. I'm doing less and less yoga, yet I'm getting much better. I get stronger by doing less, and that's what I've been trying to explain to people, that it's the rest periods in between, which is what I've been taught. That is what I've been taught. I do everything. I am a complete slave to the Almighty. I'm not the creator of life. I'm just a man in it. So the creator is almighty compared to me, and I do everything that I need to do according to what it is I need to do. Like I said, there's no words. You can't be told anything. You can't sit there and tell someone, because they won't know it. You only know by your own experience and by doing. So you have to be shown through experience, which is your life, which is a training program. So words couldn't do that. There's no words, there's no program in place that you could just get loads of information put into you like that, because you wouldn't understand it. You would have no full understanding of what you were fucking saying or doing, because you wouldn't understand it. So yeah, this life I don't worry about. I'm not worrying about, but it is important all at the same time. But yeah, I'm not an actor. I'm not an actor. I genuinely, what you see is genuine. I don't lie on purpose. I'm not a liar. I make jokes. I've told everyone it's comedy. I said these are comedy sketches. It's YouTube and Facebook and the authorities that believe El Capitan, the son of the creator. You know, I can't. What's the matter with them? Why is my TV series and my fictional show and everything? You know, I've got, you know, vampires or beasts, you know, mutants. There's robots. There's fucking tyranny beetle. You know, there's all manner of fucked up shit going on in my TV series. And why? You know what I mean? I say it's fiction, but they ban it under fact. You know, and tried to fucking hunt me and fucking kill me, which is what I tried to fucking stop, you know. But yeah, the goddess deals with all of that, not me. I haven't got that power because I weren't responsible for that power. I'm a fucking maniac that wanted to kill everyone. Now that was vital for my training process, because if your job is to kill the enemy, it's a good job that you've had many years practice doing that and would do it without a second's fucking thought. So that's a vital part of it. So, you know, without my mum, my stepdad, all that going on, that wouldn't have been the case. So they're vital for me, you know, they're important. They were an important part of the fucking thing. Do I hate them? No, I don't have time to hate them because they're nobodies. What are they in the world? Nothing. What are they on the grand scheme of anything? Nothing. So they're nobodies. Dust. Nothing. Figments of imagination from my past that no longer exist. So, yeah, so I'm not angry at them. I'm not angry at any one individual on earth, bar the rulers of society. I have anger. I'm because what happens is that when you've been pushed to that level, it rises to the surface. It weren't always there. I couldn't call on it how I can call it. As a kid, I knew it was in me, but I was still a happy kid. I was a happy person up to around 15 before I snapped. And then I just hated everyone and everything. It come to the surface. It's like, it's just under the skin. It's like you're bubbling at all times, even though you're smiling, having a great time. It's just, and it can come out in a split second, which is very dangerous if you hurt people in a split second. Yeah, I don't worry. I just want to get to this. I don't worry about prize cunts. What have I got to worry about prize cunts? I'm not going into any prize cunt competitions. I'm not going to walk into gyms and take over the land like that, because that would be dumb. It's comedy, but it's a film, it's fiction. That's what I keep telling everyone. Not everything is factually correct. But there may be a slight true story underneath it all. Who knows? It's, you know. So I said it's vaguely based on a true story. I've made these videos. I've told everyone that. But like I said, it's YouTube that keep banning my videos. Banning, like removing under hate speech. How can it be hate speech if it's a fictional TV program? If you look at all the shit that goes on in films and on YouTube that's available now, why has mine been removed when it's viewed by nobody and I state clearly that it's fictional for a fictional TV series? You know, I can't make that up. I can't do that. I don't physically do that. That's not my doing. It's their doing. It's the authorities' doing. Which has taught me about how you would have to work it so that you couldn't just be a normal person. How big the grid is. So that if you were going to do things at a later date, you'd have to be a lot more cuter about it and clever about it. You may have to have two completely different lives. One by day, one by night. Where you're getting up to activities, meaning taking care of people, tucking people up, causing shit. You may have many lives. If you look at the things, the symbolism is there, Celtic and thingy bob, if there is anything in it. But for the story of it all, I take little bits out of it. Is there anything to gain? Do you beg that? No, it's just the story for you to understand what your reality is. And what they would call the Celtic, I can't remember the Celtic one because it's just a comparison, because the writing for the Celtic beliefs is not really there. It comes down to thing and there's no thing. But yeah, so it would be Brahma, which is Brahma is reality, which is Buddha. Buddha follows all of these things as well, which has many faces, many heads. There are many heads to reality. Meaning that there's many sides to reality. There's many, and the goddesses as well. There's triple or quadruple goddess. You know, there's many sides and many faces to reality. But the stories are all the same. So let's analyse some of the stories that are in the myths and shit around the book. Let's get a little bit biblical. No, let me stop that. I'll maybe get to that in a later date, in a little bit. I was talking about me. So I'm going back to. I'm on the joints at the minute because I've got a pipe that saves me a lot of stuff. I think there's health benefits in it. I'm not 100% sure. I've got to do a big study on it. I haven't done it yet. But I had started doing that when I bought a fucking... Just as I'd bought a pouch of baccy and then bought the pipe a fucking few days later. So I just, for some reason, I feel like I have to use up the baccy. So I'm smoking a few joints, but I've cut down. I'm literally on, what do I fucking smoke 2 a day. Very rare will I smoke more than 2, and some days I don't even smoke 2. Drinking now, I don't drink every day. When I'm at work I do, which I might try and stop a little bit. Who knows? I might cut it down. I feel like I need to cut both down or out because they're wants and needs. But again, you may need them. It may be just what you need, and ultimately, I'm at a stage where if I give them all up, what do I gain out of it? Do I fucking live for another 10 years? I'm not sure you would gain that health benefit out of it. And what's the point in living another 10 years if you're bored sometimes? You know, it makes being alone better. You know? So, it could just be essential for that. Yeah, so, yeah, every year I get stronger. Every year I get stronger. On the building sites, I'm still the best worker. I'm nearly double. Well, a lot of the cases, I will do more work on my own than most 2-man gangs can do. You know, so when I start to, you know, and my work is I'm paid to train. My work is swinging hammers, smashing shit, and I do everything by hand. So a lot of people use machine for everything, where I dig by hand, meaning I use my mattock, which means I'm swinging the fucking mattock around all fucking day long. I have great aim with picks, with mattocks, and sledgehammers. I also I don't use breakers very often. I use a hammer and chisel. So, you know, what other people use, they get compressor and a fucking jackhammer to break floors. I will just bust the fuck out of it with fucking a club hammer and a fucking chisel and my claw hammers and things like that. So I'm training all day long for my it's vital training. Wax on, wax off. You learn, you do better at if it's your job and it's something that, you know, I'm paid to train. Because it's impact. You could be the best fucking wave shit around in the air, but you know, the impact happens. It's like a nunchuck, like, which Bruce Lee's is all camera tricks speeded up. Yeah. Now, a nunchuck is like the crappiest weapon because the impact will send it flying off in a different direction because it's on a chain. Yeah, so you need, it's just for show. It's a crap weapon. It's a rubbish weapon. Rubbish. It's a film weapon. Like a lot of martial arts weaponry is for film. Looks good in film, not in real life, not in reality. So yeah, impact is a massive thing, and you know, ultimately, you know, when you're smashing concrete, you gotta hate it, and because it's your job. You know, I was a price worker, so I operate on price, and that's what I was saying before. A lot of people take it a lot more serious because they're career people. They need a job for career, where I just turn up here and there and just fucking. But when I'm there, I'm the ultimate professional, and I like to be busy all day, which means at 7 in the morning when everyone else is talking bullshit and standing around doing nothing, I like to be busy because the busier I am, the quicker my day is before I can go home, and it goes quicker. But other people hate you for that, and again, because I'm always happy. I'm always happy at work. I like to have a laugh while I'm at work. I hate being there. So to me, having a laugh makes my day better. And some people, that bloke could just hate me because, well, whatever his fucking problem is, it's because I'm always happy. And he's always miserable. But I don't know his life story. I don't know what's gone wrong with the bloke. Like, he could be like the maddest motherfucking psychopath there is. Because you've got to defend yourself against everyone. You don't. I can't judge anyone by anything. So I don't take anyone lightly. Meaning that you've got to deal with them as and when quickly and get out of there. Because if you're going to trade punt, you can't trade with fucking people, maniacs, because you could come off unlucky one day. Do you know what I mean? So, you know, anyway, you've got to take everything as seriously as it can fucking be taken. So I'm getting fitter every year. Yeah, every year. When I started, when I woke up, I was overweight, quite well. How much in weight I don't know because I don't weigh myself. But I'm a 32. I'm not a 32. I need a belt with a 32. I was a 34. You know what I mean? And you got to fucking breathe in to do that shit up as well. I was quite what people would call stocky, but it's not. It's overweight. It's fat. I weren't a fucking. I did have a bit of a paunch. I'd get a paunch every now and then, a fucking big stomach at Christmas and things like that. Or if I was taking a lot of drugs, because a lot of the time when I took drugs, I needed to fucking eat loads the next day, you know what I mean, and to try to recuperate. So I think I might have already said this before, I can't fucking remember, but anyway, yeah, I was a drug addict, alcoholic, madman, yeah. How can you fucking whisk someone off? Tell them it's a fucking virtual reality. It's just a training program. Now, because I didn't know anything. You can't be told anything. You have to learn it. And you have to learn how to do it for yourself. Otherwise, you can't be shown it. Otherwise, you won't be told it. You have to do it for yourself. It's the only way you learn in this world, is by doing things yourself. You can watch someone lay slabs. You can watch them fucking do that. You think you know how to do it by watching someone. Yet when you come to do it, you don't have got a fucking clue. And it can take you fucking 2 years of doing it every day before you become... trade 2 or 3 years doing it every day to become a trade. So only by doing do you fucking can you learn anything. By experiencing your personal experience, and your only reality is your personal experience. So what ain't your actual experience is up for debate, and your reality. So which is the past. So the past you have to just get rid of and look at and just question and reason and see if that matches what they're telling you is the past, whether that matches your reality today. I don't know what happened in the past. I haven't got a fucking clue what happened in the past. How the fuck can I know what happened in the past? Because there's a million different versions of the past in a million different books. Books are not real life. Books are words on a fucking piece of page that means nothing. And if you look at most history, it comes from religious people who were the authorities. Forget what it is today. The religions were the authorities who executed and policed the population for the monarchy, because it's the monarchy's religion and they are the kingdoms of God. Now, yeah, so over the last 8 years, yeah, you need to learn. What I've learned is that I've learned how to survive out in the wild. And, well, half wild, half using the asylum. I live in a place called Great Britain, meaning that there's not that much free space where you won't encounter a town or a village very quickly. There's not that much land about where you're allowed on. So there are shops everywhere. So if if you needed, I need to gain food, I can gain them from there. That's where I've been trained to learn. So I learned how to do survival techniques. I learned how to steal. I stole things as a child, bits of shoplifting and things like that, but not a lot. So I was already half schooled on it all, you know what I mean? But I've learned that you can live outside very easily all year round, and that you're actually healthier by doing so. And the year itself becomes a lot easier, meaning that the sun doesn't affect you as much, and the cold doesn't affect you. The hot and the cold don't affect you as much. So it's a lot easier for you to be able to deal with those conditions. So, I'm learning. Like I said, I was lucky that I grew up in a cold environment. Most people grew up in bedrooms years ago with no heating. Houses didn't have very good heating. The fire doesn't, and calagas and all of this sort of things, what people used to have. Loads of people I knew as kids, we'd all be sat round people's houses in freezing cold temperatures under blankets, freezing like this, in a lot of people's houses that I knew. Some people had the heating on, some people didn't, yeah, but a lot of people didn't. And now's a good time to learn, if the energy prices are going up that much, to get used to the fucking cold. Yeah, so I've learnt that, and I've learnt patience. I'm very comfortable. Even now, I limit my music. I'm limiting my music because it's sensible. Ultimately, in a real reality, if you are my training, like I said, part of my job would be an assassin. So you need to learn the survival bit. The killing bit takes seconds. That's the easy bit. Getting away, living, surviving is the hard bit. So you need to understand the surveillance and certain things about all of that for you to be able to do that, in the other world. I've not done that in this world because I've not needed to. I'm protected by the goddess. The goddess does everything. Again, what would be great if that was good, like I just go onto the floor like that and go, and out pops this giant blue woman with arms as a skirt and fucking, you know what I mean, with loads of arms, starts ripping everyone up and that. That'd be good. That'd be a good weapon, you know what I mean? That'd be great, like the Incredible Hulk. You can turn into a fucking giant lizard or something like that. But I'm not sure that's in the laws of nature. But that would be good. I haven't woke up or anything like Bruce Banner with ripped clothes and not know what's happened. But, I don't know I personally don't know what is the laws of nature. And like I said, I don't know what it is yet. All I know is there's a training program and I'm learning, and I'm trying to explain to you what I've learned over the last fucking 8 years. Now, what I have learned is that I can survive. I can also build somewhere very quick, cheap. And I could build something better using what was around, a lot better. And I would do it out of sight. Next time. Here's just for this, just for something, whatever it is, and you know what I mean. because it operates as a training program that you're learning 3 or 4 different things all at the same time. So yeah, I would go undercover. My next place I'm going to build, I'm moving away from here soon. I'm moving away. I'm not going to be, well, I don't know, because I like I said, I'm learning, and it could come in handy at a later date. The language skills, the way I make videos, the way I make points, the way I talk, and the knowledge of it, because every time I say something, I then start to think about what I've said, analyze it, and go into it and see if there's anything else. Yeah, so I need to make myself stop my hypocrisies. Is that because I need to be a better person to be around other people? Could be. It could also be that ultimately, for 8 years I've tried my hardest in person to try to get through to a lot of people about it, so I'm constantly at people all the time about it. The last job I didn't do that much, or I try to lessen it now, because I don't not getting through to anyone soon, and I'm at the stage now, well, fuck it, I can't be bothered. The only way you can get through to a mental patient is if it was whole scale, and it is through the media, meaning that it will be via the flashy screens and the written word, which is use your opponent's energy against it, which is how the human race has been programmed, via the written word and the flashy screens. So my writing's got better, my talking has got better, even down to even understanding how to use the fucking mobile phone has got a little bit better. The camera, I learned a little bit about that, I understood certain bits about how Facebook was operating, because I'd never been on there before, and how warped and how fucked up it is. And I've just bought a watch, Rolex, man, Rolex, £6. I don't need to know the time all day, because the light tells me the time, and I can normally look at the sun if I'm in the same place and roughly know the time. Do you know what I mean? If you're in the same place all day and you've studied the sun going over, and you'll know which position it's in if you're there all day. So like at work, you can tell looking at the thing. Same way when I'm here, I know if the sun's there, it's a certain time at that time of year. This time of year, because it's dark all through the night, and I sleep a lot more. I go to sleep a lot earlier in the winter, and I sleep better, and yeah, but I do wake up, and I like to know the time in the middle of the night, so that I don't get up and start making food and fucking getting ready to go to the shop or do something like that, and I'm fucking 8 hours too early. Do you know what I mean? So I like to know the time, but I'm sick of these fucking phones. I'm sick of turning them on, because I turn them off all the time now, so I'm saving battery. And even myself, every time I go onto the fucking thing, I just get drawn in, and I don't even watch the videos. I'm more or less, and I just sort of flick through, and you're in like a fucking weird world, just looking at nothing on YouTube and on Facebook, and it sucks me in, and I know the fucking full-scale scam behind it. So I'm sick of it. I'm sick of fucking looking at it. I'm sick of fucking to death with looking at it. So I need to fucking not have the mobile phone around me at some stage, maybe soon. Personally, I just think I'm going to make a couple of videos, and then that'll be that done. At least for a while. But yeah, I analyse my past, but the past is literally just to learn from. The past, meaning antiquity, I think that's the word, or the times that you can't remember. I know a lot of the history because I spent a lot of my life learning about it on history channels, in books and things like that. So I know it, so I can bring it up and use it at a later date to point out that, you know, that and that, and I'll use that like that and that. But ultimately, I'm void of it all because I don't know what the fuck happened. You can only reason and make sense and see if that makes any sense to your reality today. And like I said, most of it doesn't. So you've got to look at your reality and question and reason and get down to the point of understanding about that, and draw a conclusion, and obviously look around. Everything has to, if everything points in the right direction to what you know, ultimately that's a load of bullshit what you're fucking saying. And like I said, most of history is written by the winners, which is the empire, because the empire rules the entire earth, which is the United Nations. And anyone who thinks that they don't all get on, and they're not all in business, and they just use different countries and keep one in poverty to make that one feel better, so they can move slaves from that place then to a place where there's better wages, in the merry-go-round of mixing everything up into a weird fucked up world of weird shit and artificial and weird gay messed up human being operated on fucked up fucking wackos. And just quickly on this, the women never have a normal face. It's very rare that women don't have an artificial face, meaning that they hate their own face and need to decorate it because society has got them to hate their own face. But the mental patients love their face once it's decorated, hate their actual face, but love their artificial decorated wacko face. Look at me, I'm beautiful, with a fake face. Cuckoo, cuckoo, you ugly little fuckers. You're not beautiful, you're hideous. Hideous. Artificial mutants. Even down to, and it even infects. It's like even women that are classed as good looking. So I'll just point this out. And she was a pretty girl. She's too young for me, but I could appreciate my son's friend, the dancer, who he's no longer friends with. He's now friends with someone else. But she was she was quite a pretty young girl, attractive young girl. And she was on about, she wanted to make her lips, put all that shit into her lips. Those lips need cutting off. They look fucking revolting. Fucking hideous. Hideous fish face. And what they've done is, because it is hideous, it's artificial and disgusting, and ultimately needs to be, ultimately the creator of life, whether it's the creator of all life, would hate that. The creator of this life, any life, hates that. And it's revolting and needs to go, because you shouldn't be embarrassed by your own face. You should not have to decorate your own face at all stages, because this is just getting people from the natural to the artificial. And it's just a big process that goes from makeup into surgery, into making fake faces for yourself, into not even wanting to live in the actual world. You want to live in an artificial world where you can design your own avatar for yourself. So yeah, your reality is only your waking day, what you have experienced in your reality. Yeah, you can draw on certain things in the media, but are those things in the media actual reality, or are they realities they're not actually a reality, but they're things that have changed your reality in society and around your own spine? So they are realities, but not reality, because they could just well be faked artificial bullshit like terrorist attacks. things and things like that. Now, yeah, so where I'm at now is that, you know, I'm a man of peace. I don't attack any. My aim is to avoid conflict at all costs, because it's just too dangerous to do that, because it's so easy. Literally, it's very easy to kill someone. Very easy. I know one punch. I know people that have killed people with one punch. You use, you know, it's very easy. And the stronger you get, the more conscious of that fact, you know. And my aim, like I said, I've been taught to operate under stealth, so that you know, you don't do anything. You need to operate behind the scenes and not draw attention to yourself, meaning avoid the authorities. The goddess protects me now, but the goddess won't be protecting me, because the goddess is just the trainer. So, yeah, and only gets you to places for you to analyze and for you to work out. It's not for them. You don't get told. You only get told up to a certain degree. Even some things you're told, you have to question, and then what you've been told is just for you to question. So, yeah, so where I'm at now is that, yeah, over the last 8 years, I've learned patience, and now I don't have music very often. I'm trying to wean myself off of music. I find myself a lot more comfortable now without it. And in a practical reality, if it was a reality where you were operating and you were hiding, meaning that you were avoiding detection while you were operating, you know, you couldn't be sitting there listening to music. You'd have to have your ears out, analysing to see if anyone is coming in your direction. So, yeah, I'm getting myself off of music, noise, but it takes time, because it's an addiction and it's a mental illness that you need to get out of, you know. You can't go from A to B. You can't be a fucking... That's what I'm saying. The mental patients is dreaming of doing these things. You want to be a spy. You want to be a fucking hard man. You want to be the gladiator. You want to be the warrior. You want to be the fucking superhero. But you know what I mean? It's not a cartoon and it's not a film. You can't just get that. You have to learn it, whatever that is. So, yeah, this world, you know, 35 years, I was the prisoner mental patient that I've explained to everyone. In the last 8 years, I've been gone from that to where I am now, which is what I've explained to everyone and trying to. So where I am now is that, yeah, I've never done martial arts. So as a kid, I did like karate for a few months. I did boxing for a few months. I did kickboxing for a few months. So I have the basics. I know how to throw a kick and know how to throw a punch. My reality is that I've been fighting my whole life from the age of fucking 3 or 4, I think. 4 maybe. So, you know, that's my reality. Yeah, and I've had to deal with quite a bit that I cause myself, that just comes from going out, you know what I mean? So, those things are there. Confronting the big has always been something I've had to do, because I've always been fairly small, and again, you know, you don't want to be drawing attention to yourself. So, you know, it's better if you look very so if you walk down the road like this, thinking that you're really big, hard and muscly, you know, that draws attention to yourself. you know, the element of surprise is is a very valuable tool. So if you don't look very big built or super ripped like that all the time, because yoga and that makes you in a relaxed state, so you don't actually look tense. But when you're tense, you look very muscly because it's lying underneath the thing. So the muscle and the power and everything is there, yet the body doesn't look that way, because, you know, the element of surprise is a much more valuable tool than the actual strength itself sometimes. So if you were a big bloke, you know, massive bloke, you know, you draw attention to yourself, and people would come and look at that and, you know, be on edge, and you know what I mean. Whereas if you're a small bloke that doesn't look anything, and then all of a sudden, like, what's his name out of fucking, you know, Brad Pitt out of fucking, what's the fucking Lock, Stock or whatever, you know, he doesn't look like the big hard man, you know what I mean, but he's got a fucking thunderbolt from hell, whack. Do you know what I mean? So that's a lot more sensible fucking weapon and tool, because it would, and to not draw attention to yourself. So these are things, you know, I can walk anywhere. You know, I can disguise myself as well. I've also learned disguise. So if I need to disappear in disguise, I can disappear in disguise as well. So, you know, for many different things, for even shoplifting, it's good to go in shops in different clothes, different disguises. So, you know, disguise is I've learned disguise, I've learned stealth, I've learned how to survive in the wild, I've learned basics in self-defense. You know, I don't show everyone everything. I don't tell everyone everything. But I do be as honest as I can. If you can't tell the truth, don't say anything at all. But like I said, everything, you know, I do make out that, you know, it's up for everyone to be, and it's not for me to teach, because I can't teach you, because I haven't got time to teach you. I'm too busy teaching myself. That's if I'm getting out to anyone. Like I said, I don't care, because I've been taught to be on my own, which is Buddha. Buddha is to become Buddha, which is to slash through the illusions of life to understand the universe, which is your reality, which is Brahma, which is many sides. But is Buddha. That is Buddha. That's what Buddha is. And when you get to Buddha, you experience oneness, meaning you're on your own. You're at one with yourself. You're at one with yourself, because that's all you've got in the world. Yourself, and that's it. And the goddess is inside you, so you only have yourself. Oneness. So I'm Obi-Wan Kenobi. I'm Obi-Wan Kenobi. But I'm an old bastard. I'm becoming an old bastard. I'm an old man. Help me, Obi-Wan Kenobi. You're my only hope. Nah. Nah. You didn't help me, did you? Nah. So I'm not going to help you, am I? Nah. You know, all my pages are live. All my pages everyone's been able to comment. So if anyone was looking or interested, and you could have, you know, people could have made that public and, you know, said, look, you know, we are listening. So I don't know if anyone is, or they're in, or care. Like I said, I like to analyse what I'm saying, because I don't really know what I talk about. And when you've recorded what you're talking about, because when I'm thinking in my own head, it's not recorded, but when I record it, it means I can watch it back. And I always have to watch my videos back about 3 or 4 times. I'm a bigger studier of myself than anyone else. Which is what I was saying, the third person, the third eye could simply be doing that. So you're able to remember what you're fucking saying sometimes. I don't use it all the time. I don't like to use it all the time because I find it off-putting watching myself all the time. I find it, I become self-obsessed because I don't watch anyone else on anything. I'm not interested in anyone else. So I only watch myself. What I've been bombarded with is, like, you know, certain human beings, you know, like if you've trained your body and shit, there's flips and the acrobatics that a human being is capable of is somewhere where I want to get to. Will I ever get to them in this life? I don't know. But I do know that if I was born again and I could train the body, that I could be at those levels very quickly, because it's not talent. It's simply dedication and wanting to get there, your body working correctly, and putting that into practice. So all I see is what a human being is capable, and human beings are capable of some wonderful things, like amazing things. A lot of human beings, like the climbing ability of humans is unreal. If you watch some people when they can climb, and free running, and the acrobatics and things like that people can do, you know, I would like to do those things. Will I get to them in this life? I don't know. I haven't learned them yet. I'm maybe too old. But I do work and keep working on my body and get stronger all the time, but I'm working in different directions as well. So is that something I get in a different life? Because that isn't the motion of a human being. And I'm taught to be a human being. So for 43 years I've been taught to be a human being. I'm still a human being now, even though I feel detached less from the human race, and that I see the human race as my enemy, regardless of who to blame for it is. For it being like that, the problem is now is the population, because it's the population that give them 1% of the world the power to govern the entire world population. 1% govern the world, and it's the 99% of the population's weakness and patheticness and gullibleness and mental illness that gives them that. So it's the population that's the problem, because without the population, you literally have to wipe out the entire world's population to do that, to take down the power structure of the top, if you don't do it via the media. So yeah, so I'm learning. You know, my talking's getting better. My analysis of everything is getting better. I'm a million times calmer and happier in myself all times. I took drugs a little while ago, just before I stopped to reset. I was trying to do a reset and have a little look again at cocaine. I've taken cocaine once this year, ecstasy once this year. I'm nearly at the stage now where I'm seeing if there's anything in there. I no longer, when I go out now, I went to that festival and I just felt out of place. I'm not sure I'd really enjoy a rave either now. Yeah, I'm not sure that I'm going to attend another rave again. Certainly not. It's not on my agenda at any stage soon whatsoever, or festival or anything like that. I'm trying to get myself away from music, like yeah, which was what I said. So it may just be something I use every now and then to do a little bit of training to. I like to train to music. It makes training easier. So does drinking and smoking, because it can be quite boring. So yeah, I find it quite boring. Plus it helps with your balance. So if you're able to do things when you're pissed and you're fucking falling about, it helps with your balance, so that you're able to fucking cope with that fucking emotion of being knocked off of balance a lot better, because you're able to maneuver. So that's what the drink and that is for. So and again, the working, and because you would have to go into pubs and things like that, and if you want to get close to people to be able to manipulate society, meaning drug dealers, gangsters, football hooligans, and you infiltrate that, you know, you've got to be pissed, and you've got to take drugs, and you've got to do that, otherwise they're going to think you're fucking a cunt. So it's best to, you know, of tested myself with drugs. So I've got cocaine, you know, before. That's what I'm saying. So over the last 8 years, now I drink all the time. So I drink. I have no intentions of doing drugs ever. Not on a normal day-to-day basis. Even when I'm pissed, I don't. It's not a thought that goes through my head. The thoughts are put into your head by the gods, and you need a reset sometimes. So if you've been on drugs, because I don't care who I'm talking to, so I'm not here to be judged by fucking mental patients. Drugs are a massive part of society, and if you're going to deal with a society that's full of fucking drugs, you need to fucking understand drugs very well to be able to do that and infiltrate that. And like I said, you'd need to take it, but you'd need to be able to take it and not let that then rule your life. So it's you need to understand it to the point of addiction, so that you hate the drug itself. So if you ever have to take it, it's something you hate, and you won't then stumble back into that addiction. And it is part of the healing process. There is a healing process. I've done the healing process. Am I here to help other people at a later date? I don't know. I could help people. I feel like I could help people, but you know, there's a big job to do before you could ever possibly get down to that stage of helping people, and I'm too busy learning all of that yet. So yeah, it resets the brain, and because I'm in a good mood all the time, and a good mood all the time, you don't analyze everything very well. So you need to reset the brain so it makes you not in a good mood. And drugs are a way to do that, because after the high, the body goes into a low, which is how addiction works. Which is what I've learned, is that like people think, because the effects of cocaine are normally pretty much over the next day after you've taken it, to a degree, but it's quite quick to recover from. It's a lot quicker than taking ecstasy. Ecstasy takes longer to recover from than cocaine. But cocaine stays in your system. It's in your system. I know it's still in my system because I've analysed it over time now, that it literally stays in your system for a couple of weeks, affecting your thought process. Puts doubt into your mind. It can make you, but sometimes doubt, you know, you have to analyse things properly, and it's a way to reset that, and it's a way to yeah, like I say, learn how to be around that drug without it then taking over your life and causing you problems. But you might need to take it at some stages when you're in character and you're doing stuff and operating as a 00 agent. It takes a long time. It takes a long time, so I'm not even sure that, you know, like I said, I'm not even going to get to the levels that you could possibly get to in this lifetime. So I'm thinking there could be another training program. Something that goes through my head is that a cat has 9 lives. I can only remember this life. You couldn't then be given the whole life's worth of memory again, because you'd have to sit there and watch the entire thing again to remember it again. So it would take you a lifetime to watch the previous lifetime that you were meant to have had. So that's why I don't think that I've lived before. I could go into another life with this memory and then go from there and learn that life, and then learn another life, and then learn another life. Another thing you might need to learn is, I've been taught to be an Englishman, but I may be born in another life where you were born somewhere else. You're learning language, because language is a massive barrier in this country, in this world. And you need to learn it properly as from a child up and live there, because you can learn a language, but you don't learn the lingo, and it's the lingo that's the important bit. So that's why, you know, all these things about the stories about spies and they learn foreign languages, it's very hard to learn foreign languages like that, because you have to spend a lot of time in a place to be able to learn it, meaning that it takes years and years and years and years. You could know the language, but you won't know the lingo, meaning that you can speak, foreigners can get English, but they don't understand your slang, and they won't understand the accents, and they won't you'd have to have accent and things like that. So if you were infiltrating people, people would pick up on your fucking, you know, what's this geezer, he's fucking talks funny. He ain't got no lingo. He's not fucking, you know, who's this fucking geezer? He might be able to speak our language, but is this geezer fucking tucking us up? Because he doesn't talk the lingo. It's the lingo that's important, not just the language, because the lingo is the slang is what would get you, you know what I mean, to make people fucking, you'd be a very much more effective spy. So an infiltrator, to be able to do what it is you need to do as and when you need to do it. So yeah, that's everything's in training for the next life. So a cat could have 9 lives. Am I a cat? I don't know. Am I a fucking goat? A stag? Am I loads of animals? Am I animal man? I don't know. Is there anything in it, all of it, or is it something that's just cross-referenced, like I said before, and put something together that could give you a story out of all of that? And understand what's fucking messed up the other world as well at the same time. Like there's many things. So like I said, to me, the intelligence of creation tells me that it's super intelligent, regardless of anything. Could it be a computer that's just had information pumped into it and has cross-referenced everything to bring out a story, to put names, things like that? I'm a person called Terry. I've spent my entire life as a person called Terry, and I will die in this world as a person called Terry. I think. I might change my name actually and move away. Who knows? That might be an option yet. I don't know. It could be an option just so that I can just disappear off and don't have to talk to people, because I'm nearly at this, like I said, I've had enough of attempting to do something that has it's got no, I'm pretty certain that you can't save this world. So my aim is to be a watcher, watch everything, learn and do whatever and learn from it. At present, that is to be a man of peace, to avoid all confrontation, and to learn to restrain yourself from all your human emotions, and that takes years to do. So I've learned how to do that quite well. Yeah, I'd have never been able to go into the YMCA. I would have never even been able to work on a building site as a ground worker, because I was too much of a fucking madman and needed to be in complete control. I did footpaths, so I was the foreman, the ganger. I run the sites, and no one told me nothing. Whereas now I'm working under people, so it's taken a long time, and that's why I don't just. It's not one bloke. I won't call him a fucking. I mean, talking in general. I don't have to prove myself to little fucking cunt pussies anywhere, and that's. I think of the entire population as that, because that's all I've experienced over the last 8 years. Because no one human being, I've not met one human being that you can sit down with and have a proper sensible conversation for any length of time about what's going on in the world without them just coming out with gunk and shitting themselves and not accepting this. Even conspiracy theorists are the biggest wackos of the lot, because they'll tell you how bad the world is, and you say, yeah, I know, but you need to be doing what? Well, what are you fucking just talking about it for, you fucking spastic? What the fuck are you just waffling crap about? And you're not even attempting to fucking do anything about it. You're a fucking complete nut job. And they start fucking getting upset with you for telling them that. No, on the 4th day, the 5th tunnel, and that's all you get out of them all, because all they're doing is repeating fucking bullshit. They're programmed from the YouTube, and they think they're clever by fucking doing it. Like they're telling you something that you haven't already, once you know the scam, you've got to know the scam, and it's about getting you, what are you going to do about it? Never mind what's going on in the world, and never mind what they're telling you is the conspiracy, because the conspiracy is your existence from birth till now. So, that's why you need to know thyself. And to change, you don't change. It's impossible to. I'm the same person. I'm just learning to deal with that person better and becoming a better me. Meaning that I'm the same me. I've just put my attention in a different direction, an effort into a different direction, and I tweak. I don't change. I'm not changed. I'm still a cunt, a full-scale cunt underneath everything. I know that's come out, but I'm polite. I'm much politer to everyone. I'm polite to everyone. I like to have a laugh and be a lot better like that. But yeah, I'm just going to give up. I'm trying to tell anyone. So I'm probably going to give up on making the videos. I don't know. Who knows? Who knows on that front? I don't want to be fucking famous. You know what I mean? I'm not ready for that yet. So, you know what I mean? Or looking after anyone. So I'm not ready to do any of that. So, you know what I mean? Which is what I thought anyway, and the reality of it, which is what I've learned on, like I said, with the media, unless you are someone that they want to put round in those recommend, because Facebook do exactly the same. It comes up on your homepage, and I've seen loads of police videos come up on my homepage where people are against the police. That's been on there. Why didn't mine go round then? You know, what I can do, I don't, you know, my skill level and use of skills and it's footwork. See, you could marshal, you could, it took years and years, like 30 fucking, and that was only to get to the ones, you know, I haven't even worked on the dance. Now I'm working on the dance. I can now do things that I never did before. But I don't do it enough. I've not been doing it enough because I've been too busy trying to analyse, think. And I was being forced to walk around the country and live in fucking tents, so I didn't have that much time for yoga. I did a bit down in Barton. But yeah, so I only started yoga 8 years ago, and I don't do it that much. And I only picked up a walking stick about 7 years ago, and that was got rid of within a few months. And then I'd only just bought that club about 2 months before I even come on the fucking internet. That walking stick. So yeah, so that's, I've not put that much practice in it, but I know the skill level is there compared to, if you watch the hands and what they're actually doing and what they're, you know, you can get these martial arts, but they're more or less waving a twig around. Perfectly weighted twig. Well, a perfectly weighted, skinny little fucking thing that weighs nothing, you know what I mean? So this, you know, what are they going to do? Whip you to death? Give you a little stinger. What are they going to do next? Start whipping you with towels? No, it's not very good. It's not very practical in a real life fucking situation when you need to make sure someone is incapable of hurting you. You need something heavy and you need to be able to use it very quickly to be able to fucking make sure that they're no longer able to hurt you, because there are maniacs everywhere. The police carry telescopic koshes, handcuffs, gases that blind you and things, and they are in big gangs and have loads of backup that ultimately can bring guns as well. So they say that they need that to deal with kids on the streets, because kids now are carrying knives. But why are the kids carrying knives? It's because the media has done nothing but show them knives in computer games, in films, in the music scene, rapping about stabbing people, killing people, which is what hip-hop music was invented for, is to pump those words into people's heads along with the tunes, because it travels deeper in. And there's no wonder the kids are doing that. It's because they've fucking been programmed to do that by society. So they say they need weapons, but then they say that they need all of that, and most people won't raise a hand near them, because the second you, like I said, assaulting a police officer, you are doing years and years in prison for that. That's a custodial sentence, end of. So you are fucking, they say, you know, you need to be careful against the same people, which means that reasonable force is, you need to make sure that they're no longer able to hurt you. Yeah, so you can't really be walking anywhere with anyone in case there were witnesses to the fact that you walked somewhere and, you know what I mean, and did something, and, you know what I mean, because then it's not self-defense. It has to be someone attacking you, which is why I don't attack anyone, because, you know, I only operate in self-defense. And like I said, it is killing is very easy to kill a human being. the human body is very fragile. Meaning it can be killed with a single punch. Chop to the throat. You know, there's a lot of things that can kill a human being very quickly. Any shots to the head. Stabs. One stab, you're dead. Because if it goes through an organ, you're dead. Or you don't get enough medical attention very quickly, you're dead. Human body is very fragile, so you need to be very fucking careful of that. So you have to defend yourself and be on guard and never take anyone fucking two things. Yeah, so the last geezer I bashed up was in the YMCA. I had to defend myself from a maniac in the YMCA because the manager there had heard this bloke threaten me and did nothing about it. And then the bloke attacked me when I was outside. And I tried my hardest not to fucking hurt him because I tried my hardest to. But I'd busted his nose. These were jabs. And I started showboating and stuff because it was too easy. And fucking, I even jumped in the air, landed on his foot and give him a fucking few shots. But I weren't angry. I was just laughing and weren't putting too much effort into the punches. But I still busted his nose where the bone came through the top and split there. That's GBH. Do you know what I mean? So even that alone could get... See, I'm a law-abiding citizen. I don't break the law. I've not broken the law, so they have no ammo on me. I put my criminal record up on there. It was one offence where I was arrested for something that I didn't even do, and when I got to court I was let off with that because it was someone else, a smashed up taxi driver, and I was done with threatening the taxi driver for driving his taxi at me. And the police then, the video footage from the garage isn't available yet. If the video footage in the garage verified what they were trying to fucking target me with, the video footage in the garage would have been available. So I had a lump of fucking puff in my pocket so small that I didn't even know I had in my Johnny pocket, that had been through the washing machine about 20 times probably. So I got done for possession of cannabis, and 2 public disorders towards the police officers who turned up in a gang and started roughing me up for doing nothing, for threatening someone for driving their taxi at me. But because the taxi driver's the one who rung the police, that's who the police are operating for, because they always operate for a grass, because they love a fucking grass who rings up them for that. So regardless of the circumstances, they are operating for him. So yeah, anyway, so that's my criminal record. So, I don't draw, we're in an age of the mobile phone. There's people, witnesses, you've got to operate stealth out of cameras, you can't get caught attacking or hurting people or doing anything like that. So, and you shouldn't. Why should you? What's the point in wasting your time? That's what I was saying. Why? And I have rows everywhere. The job in Stevenage, I turned up there. There's a Polish foreman who, all he did, he was useless, didn't know fuck all. He was a clown, because he'd done weights, that he was some sort of fucking big geezer. And in the end, I had a row with him and told the bloke, you've got 2 choices. I'm walking off the fucking job, or you get rid of him. I'll run the fucking job because he's a fucking idiot. And they threw the Polish geezer off, and I did the job. But I had rows with him, and then I had a row with the fucking the boss, because the boss turned up on the last day of the job wearing Ray-Bans, thinking he was the bollocks, fucking, and made loads of extra work for me on the last day, and I just flipped and called him a cunt and told him he's a fucking idiot and that. And it's because I take it too seriously, and I need to calm all that down. This work stresses me out, and it's weird. I've been able to calm myself there, but the work thing was still, because I'm a professional and I like things to be done properly and how I like them to be done. And like I said, I've got to learn from that, because I'm planning on working the next year, but I don't want to keep moving around everywhere, because it fucking pisses the fuck out of me. Do you know what I mean? Because you've got to fucking meet new people and all of that. So yeah, most of these people know most bits about me who I've fucking been working with, because I've told them the bits about the world. I've showed a couple of fucking videos. Who cares? I don't care. I don't worry about mental patients, because that's all I see every other human being is. I like a few of them. You can have a bit of a laugh with a few of them and that, you know what I mean? Same way I can have a laugh with everyone I fucking meet. I like bits of everyone's characters, but they're mental patients all the same. Everyone's a mental patient. I'm a mental patient still, like I said, but I do analyse myself, and I do try to correct myself, and I will correct my wrong, because if someone did that to me, what I did to him, I would have gone mental. So I shouldn't do that to anyone else. And it was fucking wrong of me to fucking do that. And I don't even really understand why. And afterwards, I still thought it was funny. I told someone about it. I've just fucking done that. Fucking little cunt. Thought he fucking, you know what I mean? He's a dickhead. Because he'd wound me up. Because he did cause it to start with. But again, the same way, who cares? It is what happened. I'll offer him my hand. If he takes it, he takes it. I will apologise. I'll say, look, mate, you know, I'm fucking sorry about it. I didn't really, you know, I didn't spit at you if that's what you fucking thought, and I don't blame you. And I do respect the geezer, because he did want a row, you know, ultimately. You do sort of respect a fucking other fighter. So I'll do that. If he attacks me, you know, ultimately I'll have to defend myself. But, you know, whether that will take place or not, I don't know. Hopefully he'll just take that and it'll be done. I'm not fucking, you know, I couldn't really care. I'm not that bothered about it. So I'm going back there. I had a good job. It's pointless to fucking fuck it up. I'm planning on working next year, or the bulk of it, you know what I mean? I might have a couple of holidays, but I'm not going to be doing, I'm planning not to do it like I did this year. So I've got plans. I don't know what's happening in the world. It doesn't matter what happens in the world. I do know that the world is my enemy, and that my job in a future life is to take all that down. Whether that happens in this life or not, I don't know. Fuck knows, because I'm not there. I'm certainly not at that level now. So yeah, so I'm the happiest I've ever been. I'm very calm outside. So, you know, these are all, you know, as a mental patient, your brain is literally running at 1,000 miles an hour. It can't cope with not doing anything. It can't cope being on its own. It can't cope with anything. It needs to have constant amusement and attachment with via the screens, with shit going in there. Now that is, you know, how you can't get from that to being able to do anything, because that governs your entire existence. So you know, a mental patient, is it too far gone? That's what I'm saying. I don't know. I don't fucking know. Let me put a candle on. I need to stop the video realistically, so actually I might just stop the fucking video there, because it's getting a little bit fucking dark, and it's quite long, so that'll do. And then I'll just fucking make another one and follow it on. Later.